But here we go. Well, I thought it would be fun to end the radio segment today and to end the show on the radio side to do a mock draft. And I know it's going to be difficult to see for those in the radio, but we're going to explain all the picks.
We're going to talk through it.
And basically, I wanted to see if we had this exact scenario, who Casey and Jacob would pick and who they would take. And Elliot. I would say my vote weighs less. But nonetheless, we're going to flash this up on the screen here.
All right.
And I think we're ready to enter the draft.
Yep, here we go. We're starting to draft.
And this factors in that we only have 6 picks, too?
It does.
Wow,
It's in order, and you can mess with the sliders beforehand to do how realistic or how surprising they are. Casey obviously did not speed it up at all, which is going to make this pretty brutal to roll through.
Well, in case we wanted to pause it to
16
trade.
picks.
I don't know.
Oh, that's very funny.
Should have done this on Turbo, Casey. What are we doing?
Do you guys like doing mock drafts? I've never been a mock draft person.
I do minimum of 4 every Monday.
Okay. Every Monday.
Yeah,
okay.
all 4 sets.
I like
mock
that.
draft Monday.
Every Monday.
I like
yes.
that.
They usually update over the weekends. That's why, at least during the combine and things like that. Because if you're doing the same board, you more or less get the same players.
Yeah.
So first pick of the day, obviously, pick 17 in the first round. Casey, if you want to scroll up a little bit there, let's just see the players that went right before the Bengals. See if we missed out on anyone that we really, really want. All right, right there at number 12, a little bit of a kick to the gut. Jihad Campbell goes down to Dallas, play for the Cowboys. Jalen Walker falls all the way to 14. Boy, what a slide that would be.
Yeah.
To get our hands on Jalen Walker, the edge rusher out of Georgia. That would be a phenomenal pick, but unable as he goes 14 to the Colts. Donovan Ezerico, player a lot of Bengals fans have been looking at it potentially be there at 17, one of the lower edge rushers, but in this version falls below Mike Green, stays down there in Atlanta. So Tedero McMillan at 16 to the Cardinals, and now we come up to the Bengals at 17. Casey, this is the debate we were just having. It's Walter Nolan, it's Kelvin Banks, it's Mike Green, it's Malachi Starks. This is about as good of a board as you can ask for the Bengals, as long as they take one of those 4 players, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're going to have they will have a lot of options at 17.
No doubt.
I think in previous years, I think you would say that they were like stuck with picking a certain position. I don't think they're in that position this year. I think that they can go in a lot of different directions, and I think there's a lot of great talent there.
They've more backed themselves into the hole of that you have to use your 6 picks on these positions, but the needs are all pretty much even, where they do have that versatility going on in the first round here.
Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
If the Bengals didn't get it done with Tee Higgins, would Emeka be a realistic option for the Bengals in the first round?
It would be my pick here.
Really?
With this board, if Tee Higgins was not on the Bengals, Emeka Egbuka would be my pick. The other Buckeye is what I wanted to ask Casey about here. We just spent a little bit of time talking about Kelvin Banks. Everyone certainly has kind of started mocking him to the Bengals as that potential guard, tackle, flex player. Josh Simmons, the Buckeyes tackle, one of the best tackles in all of college football, put together stellar film in just the 4 short weeks before he got hurt. Would you consider him here at 17, or does he scare you more as one of those traditional tackles?
I think he's more of a traditional tackle. I do think the injury kind of scares me too.
For sure.
I need some more security with my first pick.
Especially at 17.
Yeah, and I think that's also why the segment we just had before, why I'm leaning more towards Kelvin Banks, because I do think he's the safest out of all the picks that you can make. I think he's the safest pick, and the pick that you can, if he doesn't work out at guard, you still have that option at tackle for him. So I do think that Josh Simmons, though, I think he is more of a traditional tackle. I think he's a bit bigger and plays more like a traditional tackle in the NFL than a guard. So would not be my choice here.
Kelvin Banks seems to be where you're leaning.
That's where I would be leaning.
Let's go for it. Fine by me.
All right.
I'll stamp it with approval. Elliot?
I don't like the pick.
No, out on Kelvin Banks.
I want Mike Green.
Mike Green. So,
but we're going with your pick.
No. I'll go through Mike Green because there's some people in the chat that really like Mike Green as well. AJ Worth, Sean Silvani both talking about how much they like Mike Green.
We're getting that edge rusher to pair with Trey
He's
Hendrickson.
an elite player. He had a lot of great production at Marshall. Certainly a exciting player. But he does scare me with the off-the-field issues. We talked about them with James Pierce, but that's more locker room oriented. Mike Green's have been legal issues. So it does scare me. Those kind of followed him high school through college. That is a little bit of a worry for me. Not the direction I would go, but certainly a very, very good play.
I'm just scared to take offensive linemen with that first pick.
Fair enough.
I don't want to take anybody on the offensive side of the football in that first pick. That's just me, but I know nothing. Second pick, here we have, and this is where you start to lose me completely, because I've heard of those names, and now we start to go to you two.
Did we end up going Kelvin Banks or Mike Green at 17?
Mike Green.
We went Mike Green.
Okay, so if we didn't go Mike Green, I would go defense here.
Yep.
And I would take either Kevin Winston or Benjamin Morrison.
Okay.
Benjamin Morrison was a no-doubt top 15 pick going into this season. Got hurt early in the year, missed the whole season for Notre Dame. That's incredible value down here at pick 49. Also a captain of Al Golden's defense for multiple years at Notre Dame. He knows the system. I know we don't necessarily need a corner. I have a lot of faith in Dax Hale, DJ Turner to be good players on that side of the ball in that secondary. But I think Benjamin Morrison would almost be too good to pass up here. I would not do it if we went Mike Green in the first round because of what I'm going to get to next. But I love Benjamin Morrison. I love Kevin Winston Jr., the safety out of Penn State. Nomar Norman Lott had one of the best pass rush win rates in the entire country last year at Tennessee. But since we used that first-round pick on the defensive side of the ball on an edge rusher, I think this is a perfect player falling into the Bengals' lap. I think it's Donovan Jackson. Right here, the 45th ranked player on PFF's board. He played tackle throughout the playoffs for Ohio State after the injury to Josh Simmons, and he was an All-American guard before that. What more do you want in Cincinnati? You have him at guard, being a no-doubt starter on week 1. If there's an injury to Orlando Brown, if Marius Mims goes down, boom, you bump him out to tackle. You have Cody Ford, Cordell Volson backing him up. I think that is a perfect second-round pick for the Bengals. Donovan Jackson's a no-brainer here for me, Casey.
Yeah, I'm also agreeing with you. I do think Donovan Jackson is a very lucky pick that we got here.
Absolutely.
Just looking at the ADP here, I mean, he's usually picked before us, right before us. So this is an excellent pick. If you scroll on down, you can see the ranks here. And I know you can believe what you see with PFF ranks, or you can do your own research, but it's a pretty far gap between Donovan Jackson and then the next offensive lineman being at that third round area. So you can see your Tate Ratledges there, Ursery there, and then it gets even far sparse the further you go. So I think it's a very lucky pick here that we got the option to draft Donovan Jackson. The guard tackle position versatility is something that I think the Bengals will be jumping all over. Let's do it. Donovan Jackson, our second round pick there.
Player on that board that just 0% chance will be there. Maxwell Harrison, the cornerback out of Kentucky. I know he's not one that we have talked about a lot for the Bengals this year, but he came out and ran the fastest 40 time for any DB at the Combine. I think he's going to be a first-round pick. He's going to Green Bay. A lot of these mock draft simulators have him in the mid-40s, but I think he's going to scoot up there. Down here in the third round at pick 81, so far for the Bengals, we've got that pass rusher. We've got that pass protector. We're giving ourselves a lot of versatility here in the late rounds, addressing those first two needs in round 1 and round 2 with guys that I know, at least personally, I have a lot of faith in being immediate contributors. This puts us in a phenomenal spot here. You could double up at guard, going with Tate Ratledge here in the third. This maybe means we didn't have to go Donovan Jackson in the second. Maybe we could have loaded up on one of those defensive players, taken Ratledge here, or Jonas Savainia, the tackle from Arizona. The Bengals also met with him. He was a projected first-rounder going into this year, has slid down the board after a lackluster season in Tempe, but we'll see what happens there. I would go defense. I do love the top of this board, and it would, to me, be whichever safety preference you have. Andrew Ngakoue, Kevin Winston Jr. Kevin Winston Jr. is not on the board here if he was healthy this season, but there are obviously injury concerns that come with that, so that doesn't just make him a no-brainer pick. Andrew Ngakoue, not one of the more athletic players in the class, but 3 years of unbelievable film at Texas, playing against high-level competition, high-level receivers in practice, and he put together 3 great years. So personally for me, it would be one of these two safeties, maybe move Geno Stone back to that role he thrived in Baltimore, that third safety kind of center field, roam the field role. I would love him more there. Pair one of these two safeties with Jordan Battle in the starting lineup. That's personally where I would go here.
Yeah, I like the two safeties you mentioned. Tate Ratledge is there too. Couple other choices here that I really like here. Elijah Roberts plays inside and outside. Yeah. He's a perfect role for position versatility on defense. He can play edge on your first couple downs, and then on third down passing situations, he can slide inside, give you a little more juice. Savaina, I love him as well. I think he also provides you that guard convert versatility.
I'm less confident in him playing tackle in the NFL at all than I am he can't shift to guard. I know he's listed as a tackle on there, but those arms were about as short as Will Campbell's. I think he's going to be a really good guard. I just have zero faith in him playing tackle.
Yeah. And then there's a couple other picks down here that would be more luxury, like the Harold Fannons of the world.
Wyatt Milam up there.
Where's Fannin? Where's Fannin at?
Right there at 102.
Okay, so we can get him with the next pick, right?
Probably.
Okay.
That Wyatt Milam tackle from West Virginia, he kind of fits that Donovan Jackson mold that we took in round 2 there.
Yep.
The really good tackle that's played a lot of really good guard. If, again, we wouldn't have taken Jackson in the second round at 49, I think Wyatt Milam would have been a great pick here with that flexibility.
Yeah. With us addressing our 2 biggest needs, this is a time for us to just pick whatever the best player on the board available is. For me, that's Kevin Winston Jr. I know we just went through that whole list of other guys that are options there.
An interesting one here, down towards the middle of that list, Chris Paul from Ole Miss, the middle linebacker. Now, a little bit early, I think, to probably pull the trigger on a middle linebacker, off-ball linebacker for the Bengals this season, but he had the lowest missed tackle rate in college football last year. One of the most sure tacklers in all of college football. I know that was a big issue for the Bengals last year, so maybe something that could be good. I don't know if you used it here, but could be a good addition.
Yeah.
So who have we decided on? We're going defense, right?
For me, it's the best player available on the board.
Okay, your best player available, your defense. Who are we going with?
One of those 2 safeties, Casey's choice.
I think Casey's a Penn State guy.
I'm going to go with Kevin Winston.
There we go. Love him.
All right.